What is up, everyone? Welcome to a Q&A. A lot of you have been requesting this video for quite some time, and finally we are here recording it. So the first question is, what got you into wrestling in the first place? And I like this question. I think it's a good place to start. And honestly, my memory is so bad that I can't remember a vivid memory of me being introduced to wrestling. I think it must have just been on in the background, and it caught my eye, and I've been enamored with it ever since. That's probably the gist of it. But in regards to what kept me watching, I've been watching wrestling now for, since 2007. Late 2007 was when I got into it, and I've basically been watching ever since. I've had one break where I stopped altogether and just completely fell out of the loop of what was going on. And that was in 2011. And then in 2012, I got back into it. So it's not been a major break. I've always kind of just been watching wrestling since 2007. And the only other time I took some sort of break was when it got really bad in that 2021 era. But I still kept in touch with it. I'd watch reviews, so it wasn't really a break. It was sort of just me not interested in watching it for myself, and more so me keeping up to date with it in case it got better through reviews and podcasts and stuff of that nature. In regards to what kept me watching, it was the stories. I mean, the matches are great, and I enjoy watching them, but, the stories are what keep me invested and have, kept me watching for so long. So the next question is, how do I book storylines and matches? Now, this is a tricky question because it can differ from person to person. How you book something may be different to how I book something. But as a general rule, I try and keep my stories as simple as they can be. I don't do these overly complex storylines, and I base a lot of my stories on NXT, specifically 2014 onwards, in that golden era of NXT. That's where I sort of get inspiration from and where I base a lot of my storylines on. Now, I got a couple of questions asking how long does it take me to set everything up in my Universe Mode videos, and it takes, I would say, about a week from, the beginning stages to the upload. In regards to making an episode, it probably takes around 5 days. But the general process is I script out the episode. Not entirely, I don't go into match details and stuff of that nature. A lot of what you see in the matches themselves are improvised. I just go with the flow. The only thing that I know is who's winning and how. But the general process of making an episode is I record all the gameplay after I script it. So I script out the episode, what's happening, what matches, etc. The order is also laid out for me. I then record the matches and the promo segments. So the way I do that is I just go into a match, I put the wrestler in the ring, go into highlight reel, record that, and, all the backstage stuff. You just do a Falls Count Anywhere match, head to the backstage area, highlight reel, boom, done. So that's how I do all that. Once I've done the matches and the promos, I then go into Sony Vegas, which is my editing software, to put it all together, which usually takes about couple hours, maybe 2 hours, I'd say, to put it all together. In regards to actually recording the matches and stuff, that can take, it could take days sometimes, probably 2-3 days to record everything. So then it goes into Vegas, I then commentate over it, which can take another couple hours, and then render it, and then it's ready, obviously, for the upload. So in total, about a week from beginning to end. My favourite WWE rivalry of all time. And this is a tricky one, but I'd probably say Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels, because what a story. And if you didn't know, when Chris Jericho punched Shawn's wife, that was actually real. He actually made contact, which he wasn't supposed to, but accidents happen, and it turned into one of the greatest storylines I have ever seen, and I'd probably say it was my favourite. What do you think is the best match you've ever created? My personal favourite is Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles at Clash at the Castle. I'd probably say... I don't know. There's so many to choose from, but I think the match at Starrcade between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins may be at the top of my list. I really like how that ended. Another one would be Becky Lynch and Nikki Cross from Money in the Bank. Just how that match ended as well. I think it worked out great. The manhandle slam onto the steel chair. Great. I popped when I recorded it. I was like, oh my god, what an ending. So, either of those two maybe, but I'd honestly have to go back, because I've done so many matches. I'd have to go back and watch them all again to honestly pick my true favourite. But I'd say, right now, from memory, either of those two would probably be my favourite. What's your favourite WWE theme song right now? Mine is either Cody Rhodes' Kingdom or Seth freaking Rollins' Visionary. Those are some bangers, I will say that. Again, there's so many, but some that just spring to mind right away. LA Knights, Asuka's new theme, Bray Wyatt, Joe Gacy has a banger of a theme song. There's so many right now. I think for a while themes were very generic, and you only had like a few standouts, like Nakamura or Rude. You know, those ones really stood out. But now, I think we're starting to get into an era where theme songs are getting much better. There's a lot of good themes right now. So, hopefully, that continues. So this person writes in and says, I love the content you've been creating lately. Thank you very much. Do you use Universe Mode itself? As much as you have going on in Universe Mode, I wouldn't think so. Do your alternate attires, even for mods, have renders, or do you leave them out? How do you book the show itself or the matches? I want to know everything. In regards to the first question, do I use Universe Mode? Yes, I do. All of the matches, for the most part, are in Universe Mode. Everything else, from the promos to, you know, the post-match attacks, stuff like that, they are done in Exhibition. So they're done outside of Universe Mode, of course. And, yeah, so that's that question answered. In regards to the alternate attires for mods having renders, yes, they do. I have got a ton of renders installed for the mods. And in regards to how I book the show and matches, I covered that earlier on in the video. And the final question of this Q&A is, what is a feature that you'd really want to see added to WWE 2K24? And I've got to think about this, because again, I have so many answers that I could give, but I don't want this video to drag on forever. So, I mean, I'm a sucker for simulation. Anything simulation based from the past being reintroduced into the game, I'd love. So I'd probably say either chain wrestling or rest holds. I think the game is crucially missing that, and I know they're trying to go into a more arcadey genre. Arcade is not something that I'm interested in. I just don't like arcadey games. Especially for what I do. You know, I want to keep my Universe Mode as realistic as I possibly can. Yeah, probably rest holds or chain wrestling. I'd say I'd want reintroduced to 2K24. Other than that, special guest referee matches, because my goodness, I have missed them, and what great storyline potential they could be. So that is all the questions that I have, and if you want to ask some more questions, leave them down below, and maybe I'll make a part 2. Who knows? But I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next Universe Mode video.